Hey kids, you want to learn how to slap something into another dimension? Well, even if you didn't ask, I'm going to show you anyway. Lucky for you though, this video has been done before, so it'll be short and sweet. Also, I am well aware that this is late. It's also the last build video of this season, and while that is unfortunate, circumstances that I'm sure you've seen all over the news have made it extremely difficult for me to get this out and done on time, for reasons that I would much rather not get into at the moment. That being said, I'm fine, everybody's fine, I love all of you. We're starting with the top tree Striker Titan for 3 abilities that make it the legit single most broken subclass in the entire game. First up is Seismic Strike, which is a shoulder charge melee ability that activates shortly after sprinting, and it unleashes a massive damage wave, and it's awesome, okay? That's the best way to describe it. It's awesome. Aftershocks is another very crucial skill, as it returns grenade energy on damage dealt by Seismic Strike, and believe me when I say that you'll be doing your fair share of slamming things. And finally, we have Magnitude. This grants a second grenade charge and increases the duration of grenade effects, which will be key for this, because who doesn't want to just throw flashbangs over and over and over again? And if you answered nobody, you'd be 100% correct, because it's just, you're gonna throw it and it's gonna bounce, and then it's just, you're gonna blind yourself and just, Realistically though, you should go with a lightning grenade because it can stick to almost any surface, and out of the 3 grenades that you can choose from, its AoE range is slightly higher than the other 2. So now that we have our abilities, let's take a look at some exotics before we go any further. We're using the Peregrine Greaves here because it grants a massive increase to shoulder charge damage while airborne, and to make it even better, we're going to be taking Monte Carlo with us as well, because each round that connects with the target and deals any form of damage returns a small amount of melee energy. This combo is still one of the strongest that you can conjure in almost any activity. Now, for mods, things can get slightly more confusing. For starters, we're going to take Thunder Coil with us to boost our melee damage. That is crucial, believe me. By itself, it doesn't do all that much, but when combined with a melee charge and a weakening effect, it can permanently delete bosses from the game code. On top of that, we'll be taking Surge Detonators as well, which turns our grenades into Overload stun bombs, and it's exceedingly handy because Overload champs suck and I hate them. Again, by itself it's nice, but its real value comes into the equation when it has some sort of buff aiding it, such as the second grenade charge, an ability that restores grenade energy, or Demolitionist, for example. Next up is Tyrant Surge, which creates a Warmind cell every time you deal arc damage with a melee attack, a grenade, or a cast. It does have an internal cooldown, but it is well worth it because cells can deal extreme damage, and that damage can be increased even further by ally weakening effects, or other mods, like this next one. Hammer of the Warmind adds status damage to cell detonations, meaning that all of these Warmind cells you're creating by punching things in the shins also have the ability to stagger or stun champs, which is incredibly useful due to gun restrictions that the season imposes on the player. It's always nice to have another option. Lastly, we will need Heavy-Handed and Taking Charge. I've gone over this before in other videos, but the strengths of this combination is enough to put shame on a few different exotics here. How Heavy-Handed works is that it consumes a charge of light in exchange for half of your melee energy being immediately returned to you, after using a fully charged melee attack. In order to activate it, however, you have to have a charger mod, which is where Taking Charge comes in. It can only be slotted on a class item, and it consumes 3 energy, but it's well worth it as it allows you to grab orbs of light off the ground when you generate them from any source, and use them to fuel your Dawn mods. Now, I do enough talking through these videos, so I'm not going to try and elaborate as much as I usually do, because it can become a little redundant, and nobody wants to hear that. We know how these mods work, all we really need is just to see it, and it'll click just fine. That being said, the basis of this is that Heavy-Handed and Taking Charge allow you to abuse the Peregrine Strike endlessly, which is being buffed by Thunder Coil, and that makes it extremely powerful. And because of Tyrant Surge and Hammer of the Warmind, every arc ability, including our Shoulder Charge, will spawn a Warmind cell, and each of those Warmind cells can stagger and stun champions, which frees up a lot of gun restrictions. Lastly, you've got Surge Detonators as well, which is a saving throw sort of thing. Should all other abilities fail, stun that Overload bastard with a grenade and smash his chin straight into your kneecap. Now, before I close this out, I want to take a moment and thank everybody for all of these subscriptions. At the time of this video, we're at 918, and my goal is to hit 1,000 before October. 8 months ago, this was just a dream that I kind of had, and today, it is slowly but surely becoming a reality, and that is actually pretty awesome, and there aren't really... there aren't any words that I can say that really do it justice. Let me just say that. Slam that like button, boys. New video next week. Your friendly neighborhood Jayboy is out.